One of the best things about crossovers is they can get you into franchises you had no other interest in. Never heard of this show, but Sonic's in an episode, so I'll watch it. No idea what a Tatsunoko is, but OMG, Ryu from the streets, hi! I'm a freaking idiot loser who's never watched That's a Raven, but I'm a mega Sweet Life Kenny. So I will now binge Raven so I can get the lore on their epic crossover. Crossovers let you sample a bit of a franchise without full commitment. But hopefully, you'll like what you see enough to fully give it a try. But obviously, not everyone will be able to try every bit of a crossover, especially if it's something like Smash Bros, which has 50 or so franchises in it. Some things are going to slip through your cracks for the average viewer. Sure, if you're playing the games for the first time, you've probably already experienced Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, and a few others. But some of these haven't gotten new entries in years, or are fairly expensive, or Ice Climbers. The frick are you gonna do? Play Ice Climbers? I'd rather climb an actual mountain, fight a polar bear, and club seals to death. The thing is, crossovers may have a large scope, but they don't have all the time in the world to probably set up every character perfectly, sometimes leading to simplified versions of the characters. In something like Smash, it's mostly fine. A lot of the characters are big enough for us not to apply, already pretty simple, or both. The problem is, there's some exceptions. This happens especially on the internet, where Smash is seen as a massive hype machine that overpowers every franchise included in terms of discussion, outside of like Mario and Pokemon. Samus's really cool aspects alongside her more stoic personality is removed to make her just a woman with bazoingas. All Mario's really interesting character who needs to pull himself together to get back home and place for his family, but has been taken in numerous different directions by Smash fandom. From an idiot to a child to a silent protagonist, and all are wrong. I could go on. I did bring up a few more of my video back in April on Medana Waldi, but there's one or three that really bothered me. Icarus Uprising is easily one of my favorite games of all time. An engaging story that keeps throwing curveballs. It's also one of the funniest things I've ever played. A ton of different weapons and power-ups that ensure no playthrough is ever the same. A large amount of things to unlock so you can play for months and months. But best of all, one of the most lovable and fun casts in a game. All these dorks are such unique and lovable little guys. From the bratty and deep down helpful and Tsunere Viridi, to the extremely cool and threatening Medusa, the utterly hilarious yet extremely dangerous Hades, and a bunch of fun smaller characters like Pyron, Hudra, Magnus, Pandora, Phosphora, and more. The cast of this game is phenomenal, and the three main characters, Pit, Palutena, and Dark Pit, are easily among the best. They're so great, they got into Smash Bros. There's just one problem. That's not my baby! Smash Bros. Uses extremely simplified versions of these three, which is fine. With Uprising being unfortunately a bit of a disappointment in sales, this is what most people think of when they think of these three. Three really fun, well-written characters that are only seen as cardboard cutouts by most people. So join me in the first of a 4-part video series this month, where I, a 25-year-old man, complain that the internet doesn't understand my little blorbos. Oh, and shout out to my friend Nero for giving me this idea for this video. It's my apology for embarrassing you so hard when we debated who to win between Skipper and Perry. So take flight, ladies and gentlemen. This is how Smash Bros. Ruined the Icarus cast. Let's get the least egregious one out of the way first. Dark Pit is interesting because he's gotten two big phases of character assassination. Dark Pit was kind of the bane of Smash speculation for a bit. He makes such an obvious clone character, but no one wanted that, since this was back when they were called clones of Echoes, which still made people like them. It came to a head when Dark Pit appeared at the end of Palutena's reveal trailer. People wanted him to be anything but playable. Remember when it was a common theory he could be a boss? Palutena's Temple is already the worst stage ever. You want to add a boss to it? But hey, some people pointed out that you could make Dark Pit a unique character, since he has a staff. We gave him his staff in his Final Smash, and it's literally just Zelda's Final Smash. Why is it in both his Smash 4 and Ultimate renders? Imagine if Ganondorf's render had him as Beast Ganon, or Deity's had him wearing his mask. That's basically what this is. Since no one really liked Dark Pit's reveal, being that he was a clone and also leaked at the same time a lot of relatively unhyped reveals compared to the ones that we already got before, like Duck Hunt, Bowser Jr., and Dr. Mario, he was pretty immediately hated. Since most people playing Smash didn't play Uprising, fun fact, the worst-selling Smash game outsold the entire Icarus franchise. And Dark Pit had a negative stigma around him. It was mostly boiled down to just being edgy. You can't talk about Dark Pit without some mention of Evanescence during Linkin Park. He was frequently joked about living at Hot Topic. He was emo, basically that was a joke. The joke was that Dark Pit's edgy. The game doesn't do much to go against that, as, well, visually, yeah, he's just Pit with black wings and clothes. And the voice actor is the same as Pit, putting on a slightly different voice, delivering lines that can be perceived as edgy or tryhard. The thing is, Dark Pit and Uprising, despite being the most literal evil clone of all time, as created by a mirror cloning Pit and creating his dark self, Dark Pit's actually a bit of a dork. Dark Pit is supposed to be the exaggerated badness of Pit, but the thing is, Pit is just so unbelievably good that there's not much to make evil with him. He's super brash and arrogant and loves fighting him because there's bits of that in Pit. Making a version of Pit that exaggerates his bad qualities is like doing the same to Mr. Rogers. He's that pure. Humor's Dark Pit is that he's not an edgy, dark, evil rival. He's a parody of evil Dark Edge rivals. He wants to be taken seriously and hates Pit, but in a game where everyone is a giant glorious ham cracking jokes, he's just out of his element by trying to be cool. But in the fumbling because he also copied Pit's loser qualities. Dark Pit is barely even evil. Besides disliking Pit initially and trying to kill him, he does nothing remotely villainous, and pretty quickly switches sides. Smash frames him as a villain, and they do that with a lot of pretty good or neutral characters. Meta Knight, Deity, Wario, Mewtwo, Donkey Kong. But of all of them, Dark Pit is easily the least evil. Dark Pit is a parody of evil clones, who's put into the wrong story, one where he wants to be serious, but just can't. Eventually realizes that he kind of likes Pit and Palutena and wants to be good, on his own terms. With edgy and emo jokes slowly becoming less popular on the internet, for whatever reason though, by the time of Ultimate, this interpretation of Dark Pit has mostly completely died off. So, what do we do with Dark Pit now? Acknowledge his actual arc? Nah, he's just Pit's brother, not an evil clone. He's just a clone. Modern interpretations of Dark Pit from non-Icarus fans tend to have him tag alongside Pit and Palutena at the trilogy, being effectively Pit's brother and Palutena's son. The thing is, Dark Pit explicitly does not follow them. He's friendly with them, but refuses to follow Palutena since she's too controlling in his eyes. Smash's one cool addition to the lore is confirming that he teamed up with Viridi, mostly because it's more convenient for him. Dark Pit is more than just edgy Pit, but in one way or another, if you haven't played Uprising, that's all he is to you.
Oh, Palutena. You're gonna make Dark Pit look like nothing in comparison.
Palutena in Uprising is one of my all-time favorite female characters. She's ridiculously snarky, always having a fun line to pick on Pit or respond to the equally snarky cast. She seems like at first she's your normal, super intelligent, and wise goddess that's got everything planned, but in reality, she's as immature and dorky as you can get. The thing is, she's still extremely firmly on the side of good. She loves humanity and wants the best for it and all of its creatures, commanding her army with intensity to ensure safety for all, and can majorly assist Pit whenever he needs. She's extremely arrogant and tends to poke fun at Pit, but she clearly cares about him, pulling him out of danger when he has no shot at winning, constantly encouraging him, and again the relationship is very mother and son coded. She isn't perfect, she's lazy, she's a lot harsher on villainy than Pit is. Like banishing Medusa is one thing, but cursing her to be ugly is kind of a dick move. But at the end of the day, despite her shortcomings, she has a huge heart. Not so much in fandom portrayals. Palutena's dickishness is still played up in fanworks that you think she hates Pit. Teasing him is one thing, but fandom Palutena would make Pit hit the second tower. This is just standard fanfiction though, not Smash's fault. Honestly, the guys portray her rather well, but they're largely ignored by most players, hence why Viridi isn't in this video. Most people probably don't even know she exists or anything deep about her. Something that applies to both Smash fans and Candy Crush fans though, it's really common to make her and Pit a couple, which no. This is like the gaming equivalent of Sony couples who haven't actually watched Demon Slayer dressing as Tanjiro and Nezuko and being furry to each other, despite them being siblings in the show. Aside the kiss you could optionally get in the NES game, which isn't really brought up in Uprising, and you can interpret it in different ways, they are very clearly set up as more of a student, teacher, mother, and son. Pit looks up to her and relies on her for advice, clearly worships her like, well, a goddess, but there's nothing romantic between them. Plus, Palutena looking around her 30s and Pit looking like 13. The closest to anything romantic between them is Palutena warning Pit not to do anything naughty, which is really just her teasing him, and there's nothing really romantic about it at all. I get shipping will always exist, but no.
Oh, connected to this. Porn.
I know. Rule 34 means no exceptions, but there's times when people only view a character via the lens of gooning, and Palutena is a great example. And generally, you can blame Smash 4 for it. Do we really need those boob and butt shots in her trailer? Or her having a literal pole dancing taunt? Yes, Palutena has an attractive design. But we here at the Squid believe in ethical gooning. And there's nothing particularly flirty or promiscuous about her in Uprising. Palutena has made it into a massive flirt or just overly horny and even safe for work material. And that's just not her. She's not a massive tease, she's a dork. There's nothing particularly sexual about her, but for fan art, you'd think she's your mom with how much she throws herself at anyone next to her. Listen, obviously porn will always exist, but when this is the only thing this character is seen for, and it's just not accurate to the actual character, it does get a little annoying. I think it's just because she's more of a kind motherly figure. Every time I see an innocent motherly character turn into a sex goddess, Sigmund Freud grows stronger from the grave. At this point, he's probably recreating the entirety of Doom Eternal, and will soon break out of the underworld and wreak vengeance upon the living. But it doesn't mean I have to like it. Listen, I'm a guy, so I get it. Okay, I don't, because I'm an ace guy, I don't know what sex is. But when the only thing Palutena is known for is being a porn slave, it's kind of sad knowing she's actually a really fun character. And not that flirty in canon. I'll give her this though. She's far from the worst case of people taking a woman from a Nintendo game and boiling them down to just being hot and removing their personality to ridiculously over flirtatious and sex obsessed and also gossip added to Smash and Smash 4. I'm referring to Duck Hunt, and then we have easily the worst in this game, the main man himself, Hole in the Ground. Pit might be Nintendo's most fleshed out character. Granted, he doesn't have much competition in that field, where most of the protagonists tend to be silent, but that's not to take away from Pit. He's extremely happy-go-lucky and kind, helpful and optimistic to a fault, making him an easy target to the entire cast. While this game has several forces against each other, all teams tell the differences, all to mock Pit. He tries his best to fight against this, but he's too much of a dork to be truly cool. But that's not to say he's a pushover. Pit is shown to be extremely competent, capable of being anything thrown at him. Through some help, yes, but also his own cleverness and sheer determination. He's a captain of the Palatina's guards, and her only real notable warrior for a reason. He's the one-man army she needs to get the job done, and they can always rely on each other. Yeah, Palatina will constantly rib at him, but they're clearly on great terms. They'll do anything to help her, and he's fully capable of it. Pit, as a whole, is a dork, but he's an extremely competent dork. He's competent with a ton of different weapons and equipment, along with a genuinely great relationship with Palutena. They poke fun at each other, but a clear respect between them.
Then we get Smash Bros. And literally any fan project. He would not freaking say that.
So the big thing with Pit is that he's majorly dumbed down in fan projects. A lot of this can be blamed on Smash. In Palutena's trailer, he's constantly shown as being confused by anything Palutena does. Gets treated as a joke by her, and really doesn't do anything particularly notable. The big thing though is his star KO scream.
I never learned how to read!
This was a fun one-off line in Uprising, and a cute reference in Smash. It's now his personality. Pit is constantly shown as a drooling moron. He can't even breathe properly without Palutena telling him how to do it. It's pretty common for characters who are more carefree, innocent, and full enjoying whimsy to get flanderized to being completely brain dead. Wait like 3 weeks, it looks like the most greatest offender. But that's just not who Pit is. Pit's full of personality. Since most people know him for Smash, well, the most personality he gets is from guidances, where he's mostly just like, "Hey Palutena, how do I beat this guy?" For Palutena breaks out the game guide. It's a cute little Easter egg, but undersells Pit as a character. That's the stuff I mentioned on the other two. He's portrayed as Dork Pit's brother, which, I see where that comes from. Most fan pieces I see this from, it's gonna make them the same character. Instead of playing on how Dark Pit really doesn't want to be near Pit. And for Palutena, he's portrayed as her idiotic boy toy sex slave, which, like, again, mother and son relationship. Nothing really romantic between them. Clear age and power gap. You guys have never seen a woman in your life, besides maybe your mother. And I'm worried for what you see in your mother. Pit's a fantastic and really fun character. Perfectly balances being silly with being cool and kind of inspiring. But to the world as a whole, he's a moron who only exists to be Palutena's boy toy.
I, of course, still love Smash. Nothing will stop me from doing that.
Oh, well, okay, if Sarah came to my house and shot me in the face, that might stop me. But them simplifying characters and that being the version most people know, the only 3 characters I really love, it's annoying, but what can you do? That's just a downside of Smash. Most of the characters here are intentionally made to be simple. The game doesn't have a lot of voice acting or genuine interactions outside of trailers. Even in Subspace, they set up mini arcs for characters like Lucas, where he lost his one friend in the story of Ness to Wario. But Lucas never meets these two again, so what's the point? Smash has always been gameplay first. It's not like something like Multiverses, which, take your thoughts on the game aside, genuinely did care about having the classic characters interact and remain in character. Besides Steven, devs freaking hated him. But they always had characters swap dialogue and say things specifically targeted to one character. You can't do that in Smash, since most of the cast doesn't talk in full sentences. And the ones that do don't have full voice actors and just speak in short sentences and catchphrases like the Mario cast. But it does kind of suck that occasionally, they'll suck the nuance and fun out of the characters that are a bit deeper. And if they're not already a household name, to your average Joe, they'll just be who they are. This type of flanderization, I know I use this term like 5 times in the video. I hope you guys don't need to explain it to most people. I know most people know what it means. But it's going to be the one guy who never heard of Ned Flanders. It's really hurt when you know you just can't do anything about it. It's non-canon. I'm sure in 2037 we'll get a sequel to Uprising. It'll follow characters I love. But it's just kind of lame to see this. Still, small as a genuine character's fandom is, they love these characters for who they are. And they'll always stick with them.
It's a great thing that at least the inner circle of fans of these characters will always know and love them. It would, it really suck if that didn't apply to other characters I loved. I'm gonna be right back. Just thanks for watching. Peace.
Hey, it's Batu!
Will you quit calling me that?
But we here at the Squid believe in ethical gooning. There's nothing particular. I'm sorry, I can't say it with a straight face. I forgot I wrote that.